Hi guys, in this video we are going to cover IXL Assignment P7 translations, finding the coordinates, and that shortcut code is RUP. All right, first question I have for you is remind me, what kind of movement is a translation? Is it a slide, a flip, or a rotation? It's a slide. Translation has that SL in it. It's a slide, which means either our point or our figure is going to slide somewhere else on the graph. If we're sliding something, that means I don't flip it, nor do I rotate it. So that'll kind of help us, especially once we get farther into this and we get to our shapes, so our figures. It will be a good visual double check to make sure that you did the right thing. All right, let's get started. The point F, which is located at 1, 5, so that's right here in purple, is translated 1 unit up. What are the coordinates of the resulting point F? There are two different ways that you can find the new coordinate. So remember that little dash right there is F prime. That indicates it is where our point or our shape goes after it's been translated. One way is you can just use the graph. I think this is the easiest method when we only have a single point. So let's go ahead and use that method this way. If I have point F and I'm translating it 1 unit up, that means I'm literally just going to shift it up 1 unit. Let's draw that in red. So 1 unit up would be right here, F prime. And then what would be the ordered pair for that point? Our X value is right here at 1, and then our Y value is right here at 6. That is going to be our answer. Simple as that. And if you wanted to kind of double check your work, if we look at how it moved 1 unit up, which is why our X value stayed the same, because it didn't move left or right. It only moved up, which is what caused your Y value to go from a 5 to a 6. All right, let's officially type this in to make sure it's correct. And it is. All right, here we have another one. Point U, which is located right here in blue at 5, -4, is translated 2 units to the left. 2 units to the left, which means it's just going to slide over 2 spots to the left. So it starts off right here. We're going to go over 1, 2 spots to the left. Therefore, that is the location of our U prime. What would be the coordinates? What would be the ordered pair for that point? Remember, X comes first. 1, 2, 3. And then our Y value, -1, -2, -3, -4. Once again, let's kind of look at that relationship. Let's double check our answer. If we're moving 2 units to the left, that left and right is how our X goes. That is why our X value went from a 5 to a 3. 2 units left, 5 minus 2 is 3. And notice that the Y value stayed the same because it didn't move up or down any, just to the left. Our U prime is located at 3, -4. Good. All right, let's try one where we have a shape. All right. Really, the only difference when we have a shape is we have to move 3 points. When this happens, just moving it on the graph, in my opinion, becomes more difficult. If you like that method that I used both times, where you with maybe the end of a pen or a pencil kind of trace over and put points on your graph, then awesome. But I remember when I had a help session the other week, several students didn't like that method because the graph was too tiny. It was too hard for them to see and count. I agree with that, and I think that really happens, especially in this case when we have to do all 3 points, because that will move the entire triangle. That will translate the whole thing. Therefore, in this problem, I'm going to show you how to do it algebraically, which uses big fancy words, but I promise it's not that bad. Okay. Let's see how it's being translated. Write the coordinates of the vertices. That vocab word just means the vertices, so the points. So P, Q, and R. After a translation of 3 units left and 6 units down. If you want to use the graph method, go for it. What you would do is you would start at point P and move it 3 units left and 6 units down. But if that graph is too tiny, if counting that is too hard, try this method. And that's where we're going to add or subtract. 3 units to the left. What moves left? The X value or the Y value? The X value. And if we're going to the left, would that be adding or subtracting? Subtracting, which means we're going to subtract 3 from all of our X values, and that will translate it 3 units to the left. But this one has a double transformation. It also moves 6 units down. What kind of movement is down? Is that the Y or the X? That's the Y, because your Y-axis goes up and down, vertical. And once again, if we're going down, is that the positive direction or the negative direction? That's the negative direction, because right here's our Y. And if we start at the middle, if I go down, that's going towards your negative numbers, which means we are going to subtract 6 from all of our Y values. Let's go ahead and do that for our very first point. So I'm going to write some of it off to the side here so I have room to work. So point P is originally located at -2, 4. That's point P. But we're going to translate it 3 units to the left, which means we're going to subtract 3 from the X value. What is -2 minus 3? The signs are the same, so we're going to add and keep the sign. That would be a -5. And then it's also translated 6 units down, which means we need to subtract 6 from our Y value. What is 4 minus 6? Well, in this case, they have different signs. The 4 is positive, the 6 is negative. That means we subtract them and take the sign of the bigger number. 6 minus 4 is 2. 6 was bigger, and 6 was negative. Therefore, our answer is -2. And that right there is the coordinate of P prime. Now let's do the same thing with point Q. So point Q is originally located at -2, 8. Ooh, that's a big 8, that's okay. Once again, it's the same translation because we have to move all 3 points in order for the whole triangle to move. From our X value, we are subtracting 3. -2 minus 3, the signs are the same, so we add them and keep the sign. 2 plus 3 is 5. They were both negative, so it's a -5. Now we need to subtract 6 from our 8. 8 minus 6, well, that looks pretty self-explanatory. 8 minus 6 is 2. Now we have the coordinates of Q prime. So uno más, one more. Let's go, I guess, for pink this time. Oh no, let's do purple because that's more different than red. So our third vertice, our third point is R. I'm going to come and do that over here. And it's located at 5, 10. Yikes, I clearly struggled to write today. Spring break, am I right? Once again, in order to find our R prime, we're going to subtract 3 from the X value. 5 minus 3, pretty self-explanatory, that's 2. And then subtract 6 from our 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. All right, we have all 3 points. Please make sure once you finish doing that on paper that you type the points in. Or maybe after you do P prime, you type that in, because I don't want you to mix them up and then get it wrong. So P prime is located at -5, -2. Q prime is -5, +2. And R prime is 2, 4. Let's hope I didn't have any typos. Good. All right, let's go ahead and just do one more, because even though that one had several examples, let's go ahead and just do one more for good measure. Write the coordinates of the vertices after a translation, 7 units left. All right, this is left again. Well, let's make a little cheat sheet here to help you guys out if you need it. So when you're moving the points, if you're not moving using the graph by physically just counting, if it says, so if you move up, that means you go, that's with your Y value. So you would add to the Y. If it says down, you would subtract from the Y. And then let's put this up here for your X movements. If it says to the right, if I can spell today, good grief, you add to the X. Left means you subtract. I spelled subtract wrong down below, didn't I? Good grief, I can't type today. From the X. That's not what I want. Okay. So there's a little cheat sheet. If you're looking at what the wording means, if you're moving to the right, left, and right, that affects your X. So if you're going to the right, you're going to add to your X value. To the left, subtract from your X value. Then up and down follows your Y axis. If you go up, that's a positive direction, so you're adding to your Y value. If you go down, that's negative, you're subtracting from your Y. So hopefully that'll help you guys. Now, what do we need to do in this case? This time, it's only translating 7 units left. That's great. It makes it a little bit easier. 7 units left. Is that affecting our X or our Y? That's affecting our X. And if I go to the left, are we adding or subtracting? We're subtracting. So we're going to subtract 7 from all of our X values. Does it also move up or down? No, which means we don't have to do anything to the Y's. The Y's get to stay the same. Yay, less work. All right, once again though, we need to apply this to all 3 of our vertices, all 3 of our points. Our very first point is originally located at 5, -2. Because it is moving 7 units to the left, we are going to subtract 7 from our x value, and that will allow us to have our translated point, so our q prime. 5 minus 7. The numbers have different signs. The 5 is positive, the 7 has that minus, it's negative. Therefore, we subtract and take the sign of the bigger number. 7 minus 5 is 2. 7 was larger and 7 was negative. Therefore, our answer is -2. And there is no transformation that affects the y, so it stays a -2. I'm going to go ahead and type that in to make sure that I don't accidentally mix anything up. All right, let's try our second point. So R is located at 5, 4. In order to find our R prime, same transformation, so it's translating 7 units to the left. We're going to subtract 7 from our x. 5 minus 7, we just did that, didn't we? All right, same thing, -2. And then it's not moving any across the y, therefore the y value stays a 4. So our R prime is located at -2, 4. Last but not least, point S is originally located at 7, -4. We need to translate that to get our S prime. We're going to subtract 7 from the x value. 7 minus 7 is 0. And our y value stays the same because there's no up or down transformation. And that is it. If you wanted to double check your answers, you could use the graph. So start at R and count left 7. If you do that, you would end up at -2, 4. Oh, wait, Q, yeah. But if you move every single point left 7 spaces, it's going to shift the whole thing and it'll be translated. So let's go ahead and actually draw that real quick. So Q is now at -2, 2, so that's point Q. And then R is now at -2, 4. And S is now at 0, -4, which means I'm not the best at drawing, but there we go. We now have, see, I'm not good at drawing, so it doesn't look right, but I promise it is. We have our triangle that's been translated 7 units left. Just to prove that I'm right, let's click submit. Oh no, I'm not right. What did I do as a typo? Oh, here's my typo. See, and this could happen. I put a +2, but it really should have been a -2. So even though I really did the work right, I didn't type it in correctly. So it can happen to me, it can happen to you. Just double check it. I didn't double check that, so make sure you guys double check it so this doesn't happen to you where you accidentally get it wrong when you shouldn't have. Bad habit. All right, well, hey, I'd rather it happen to me, so hopefully then it won't happen to you guys. All right, as always, if you have any questions, please, first off, come to my help sessions. So that way we can do a couple examples together and then you can finish it on your own afterwards. Or of course, you can also send me an email, and if I'm able to help over email, I'll be more than happy to. Bye, everyone.